Hey kiddies, it's Terrible Triple Feature time once again, and this week we're doing some of my absolute favorite movies as we look at Yuppies Going Nuts. These are three movies in which young urban professionals just can't deal with it. They are frustrated, they're fed up, and have a hideous sense of entitlement, and worst of all, they have no idea what to do with all these pent-up emotions. And as a result, they go completely bug-fucking nuts. The thing of it is, I'm not sure what order to put these films, because we could do it in terms of how crazy they go from, least to worst, or we could do it in order of how much collateral damage they cause with their craziness going from least to worst. I always like to end big, but I'm not really sure because each one has its strengths. Because one movie causes way more damage than the others, but then another one you just can't, beat it for sheer bonkers. Or you could just do it in order of, how much I enjoy them. I'm not sure. So I think I'm going to go in order of how crazy the characters go in terms of performance, in which our menu will include Fight Club, American Psycho, and Vampire's Kiss. Now, Fight Club is one of my absolute favorite movies, and it's one of my favorite books by Chuck Palahniuk. Really great. I will freely admit that I read the book because I heard about the movie coming out. I knew it was going to be directed by David Fincher, and I was interested in him after Seven, and in spite of The Game, which was... all the pieces are there, but that movie's just boring. Fight Club, on the other hand, is the perfect confluence of actors, material, and direction, and just style. It's incredible. It stars Edward Norton as our unnamed narrator. I remember in the original theatrical cut, they list him as Jack, but his name is not Jack. That's just a pseudonym he uses when he's describing the different body parts and or emotional states he's going through. And it features Tyler Durden, played by Brad Pitt. And I guess I should say, spoiler warning for all of these movies, the youngest of which is Fight Club, which is about 14 years old, so if you don't know what's going on with it now, it's kind of on you. Edward Norton's narrator is a claims management or risk assessment. He's some sort of insuredy muckety-muck. He explains it in the film, and basically his job is awful, and he's tired of it, he's fed up. And then he meets Tyler Durden, who is played by Brad Pitt and is apparently everything he could want to be in life. And this is not a coincidence because Tyler Durden is the narrator's split personality, as it turns out. Our narrator has dissociative identity disorder and has created an alter ego to live out all of his wildest, badass, nihilistic fantasies. It's very, very clever, the script, very nihilistic as well. And why we say, or why I put this in terms of, character craziness is because through the majority of the film, you don't know that the narrator is crazy. There are little hints that could also be interpreted as a homoerotic relationship between the narrator and Tyler, but no, it's actually just because they're the same person. And it's also the film that features the least amount of actual actor craziness. Edward Norton is a fairly intense actor. I believe he's of the method school of just kind of staying in character all the time, but I personally haven't read or heard of him taking it to say the extents of Danny Day-Lewis or Edward Norton's idol Robert De Niro. And if you notice, other than Cornelius, all of the narrators' aliases at the self-help groups are Robert De Niro characters from the 70s with Travis and Rupert. There's no argument, he is bonkers, the narrator. And while the performance is the tamest, this would have, if I had done it under different criteria, the movie does create the most amount of damage in terms of the end of the film featuring all sorts of buildings falling down. which, yeah, you probably couldn't do that type of movie, or that type of bleak, destructive ending anymore, unless you had Superman in it failing to save Metropolis, but, that's a whole totally different thing. Next up, we have American Psycho, also based on a book. Are these all based on books? No, they're not. But based on Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho, which is a sequel of sorts to his book, The Rules of Attraction. Rules of Attraction featured Sean Bateman. American Psycho is about Sean's older, crazier brother, Patrick Bateman. Now, played by Christian Bale, and a fairly, this one, like, Christian Bale had been around and he had been on the map, but it was definitely a high watermark for him in a career of many high watermarks, but it just, everybody stopped and said, whoa, when they saw this, and this was before, like, a couple years later when he made The Machinist, and everybody stopped and went, whoa, again, and then, so on and so forth, because, he's Christian Bale. He's just incredible. In terms of actor transformation, he actually just he turned himself into the, physique of Patrick Bateman through countless hours at the gym. And he actually said that it helped him get into character because he just started getting so bored and hating everything that it was a lot easier for him to get into the mindset of 80s yuppie Patrick Bateman, who seemingly had everything you could ever want just given to him with little or no effort, and he's gone completely insane as a result of it. He's so angry and frustrated with his own life, because, he's had such a hard time of it, that he goes out and mutilates and murders all sorts of people. It's a fascinating movie. It's not a drama, as Movie Stop would have you believe. I picked it up a couple weeks ago, and it was in the drama section. I mean, this is just a horror movie. You don't drop a chainsaw on someone from a great height and have this be, considered a drama. Or, Christian Bale biting on people's legs. I mean, it's just, he's a psychopath. It's a horror movie. I mean, you don't look at Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and say, oh, well, because it's presented so well, it's a mockumentary, or this is drama. No, American Psycho is a horror movie. I don't know why I'm going off on this. Anyway, the performance is incredible. I mean, it's very, the whole movie is centered around Christian Bale's performance, but the movie doesn't collapse upon it ever at all. The guy is full-on bonkers, and as you find out towards the end, he may be even crazier than we thought he was, because, none of this may have happened. Love the use of the 80s, love the use of the music, love Patrick's diatribes on 80s songs by Genesis and Whitney Houston, Huey Lewis and the News. Everybody around him is great. Willem Dafoe is just a great little guy in the background. You can never go wrong with whatever level of Willem Dafoe you decide to have, because he's just a great actor. He will figure out whatever you need for your movie, and he will do that regardless of whatever that needs to be, which is why he's Willem Dafoe. Jared Leto is in American Psycho as Paul Allen, the axe murder victim, as well as he was the pretty blonde, the pretty unnamed blonde in Fight Club. Chloe Sevigny's adorable. Samantha Mathis, wonderful. Justin Theroux is in there, and I've always sort of liked him. He's always in the background of things. He's the bad guy in Charlie's Angels 2. He's the evil DJ in Zoolander, and also had a cameo in Tropic Thunder. He co-wrote Iron Man 2, and he's also, of course, in Mulholland Drive. And he's a really great character actor, in which he will do, much like Willem Dafoe, he will just be whatever you need him to be, and he can do it, which is also impressive. But really, it always just comes back around to Christian Bale, because this is his movie. My absolute favorite part of the whole movie, the part that really embodies how crazy he is, I think, is the business card scene, where he nearly loses his mind at the idea of somebody having a nicer business card than him. I'll like find myself randomly going into it in my head and just like, let's see Paul Allen's card. Or I'll just like say to myself, oh my god, it's got a watermark. Just because it's a classic movie and it's really a lot of fun. And if you like this one, you might want to check out the film they made of Rules of Attraction with James Van Der Beek in a very underrated performance, which I thought was a hell of a lot of fun too. And actually, Bret Easton Ellis says he liked he thinks Rules of Attraction did the best job of capturing the tone of one of his books. So there's also that. The difference between the narrator character in Fight Club and Patrick Bateman is Patrick is completely aware, or at least is imagining himself to be this psychopath, and so he's the performance is a bit loonier as a result, whereas the narrator is supposed to be normal until you find out that he's not, and it makes you go back and look at everything else. But both of these guys pale in comparison to the one, the only, our hero, Nicolas Cage in Vampire's Kiss. Nicolas Cage plays New York publishing muckety-muck Peter Lowe. I'm not going to lie, I never remember the character's name because it's really just Nicolas Cage being bonkers for 2 hours. Peter goes out on a date, or he hooks up with Jennifer Beals at a club, and he takes her back to his place, and she bites him. And as a result, he is either A, turning into a vampire, or B, thinks he's turning into a vampire, and is really just completely fucking insane. And I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but he's just completely fucking insane. He's gone within a half hour of this movie, and he's just running around acting like a vampire. And what was neat about this is this was made back in the 80s when Nicolas Cage was, young and establishing his career, and this was one of those high watermarks where it's just like, wow, look at this performance this guy turned in. It was before we realized every other movie where he's acting normal is the real achievement, because Nicolas Cage is crazy and wonderful. Most of the film does not involve vampire things. Most of the film involves Peter torturing his secretary, Alva, played by the always wonderful Maria Conchita Alonso, and the lengths to which he'll go to just mentally hammer her. And it's really terrible and wrong what he does to this woman, and he gets everything he deserves, don't worry. And that's even after eating a live cockroach, which, fun fact, Nicolas Cage actually did. There's a scene where he eats a cockroach a la Renfield in a Dracula movie, and Nicolas Cage is like, no, screw it, let's do it. And it really doesn't look like he's having any fun when he's eating the bug. It looks like he's having fun in just about every other scene, which includes, such highlights as the big eye scene, the jumping on the desk, am I getting through to you, Alva scene, him going through the whole, all 26 letters of the alphabet, and trying to do and moving his body like Mick Jagger during it. And then there are just parts where he's just walking down a street wailing. Because it's Nicolas Cage, baby. I love movies about people going crazy. Like these movies. Fight Club, American Psycho, and Vampire's Kiss. As I was saying earlier, you can play around with the order because, whereas I would put Vampire's Kiss last because how do you follow Nick Cage's performance in this? It might make as much sense to do Vampire's Kiss first because Nicolas Cage only, really messes around with maybe 2 or 3 women in the whole movie, whereas American Psycho, he kills a lot of people, but, they're just, a bunch of people, and he may not even kill any of those. But in Fight Club, there are definitely a lot of buildings destroyed by the end of it, and probably a lot of lives. So, in different ways, as always, these are just suggestions. It's up to you to come up with your own movie party. So, that's it for this week, and I'll see you next week.